for the first time live. Hopefully everything is good. I checked the audio already. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about leadership and taking advantage of the opportunities at hand. I got two cameras going on. One I'm recording, one we got live. So it's the first time I'm doing this live. So brace with me if I mess up. I'll just keep going and try to get back to my train of thought. So I've got notes everywhere. So if you're wondering why I'm looking all over the place, got papers here, papers there, papers up there. So yeah, I've been really interested in doing this live. So I think this is going to be something that's good for this channel. So today I'm talking about leadership and your perception on what programming could be in multiple categories, like what programming could be, and then what spontaneity could be, like the element of surprise. Okay, I think I should just go ahead and go, and we'll just upload it, and that way I can get some practice doing this too. Okay, so today I want to talk about leadership, like we mentioned earlier. What I'm expecting for you to take from this episode is to not think of inflation as such the most terrible thing. I mean, although it can be in some cases, but it's all on the person, because investors that are or people that are investor mindset or minds how to put this, people that have an investor mindset see these kinds of things as opportunities. Some pull their stocks out and some keep it in and they tough it out. And others either shift or make changes to what they're doing as far as consolidating their everything or multiple streams of revenue, however you want to put it. And while others just got all their own game plans, right? So, what we're meaning for leadership on this podcast today is what kind of if you've ever been okay, this whole podcast is about if you've been thinking about maybe becoming a content creator, or maybe you've been thinking about starting a channel and you don't want to show your face but you want to make videos and you're not sure how to go about it, or you're also the kind of person that is doing videos already but you're kind of scatter-minded or scatterbrained, and you're not sure how to optimize your creation process. um, Maybe you're an avid note taker, avid brainstormer, and you kind of like procrastinate when it comes to going to make the content. Um, and you just need a little bump of inspiration or motivation, whatever you want to call it. And this is that kind of video. But if you've been thinking about, or this kind of podcast, if you've been thinking about starting something, maybe a business, small business, a side job, um, there is always money to be made, yes, but it doesn't always need to take money. What it does take, the difference of something not needing to take money to make money, is high value and what is the next word I was looking for? Dang it. High value and value in general. What can you specialize in? Or they say it a lot these days. It might sound cliche, but what can you niche down in, right? What can you specialize in that is gonna that can be something to put you in a certain category of, let's say, fitness or blogging, right? What is something that you can really, really, really stick to? And if you're barely starting, what is it that you can specialize in within blogging? Like if you want to be a blogger, okay, what do you want to blog about specifically? Maybe you want to blog about artificial intelligence. A great place to start would be looking or studying about what Elon Musk and Tesla are doing right now, right? They just had their whole presentation on the artificial intelligence they were working on for almost 6 to 8 months, and it's been, um, I guess, pretty interesting how fast they were able to come up with something that moved like it did. So, anyways, what we're saying is narrowing down to something. All right, but to even get into that kind of mind state, what does it take, right? That's what we want to study in this podcast is what your perception of or your understanding of pressure, what pressure is to you, and what it could be for you when the pressure is on, right? Right now, we have the pressure of inflation, the pressure, and I live in California, so we have the pressure of um, minimizing our usage of water, right? We have the pressure of maybe not having water all the time or like having the freedom to always just turn on the sink and then it's just running. Like those are things to think about. I've done my own little research on a couple of things that I'd like to grab for my family and myself, but there's even machines out there where you can make water from thin air. So pretty sure there wouldn't be any excuses when it comes to running out of water in general. So but right now in California, if you really think about it, it's the farmers that get all the water first, and then it goes down the process of elimination. So priority comes first, right? You got if you don't have the food first, the people don't get fed. So think about it like that. But the pressures of things are they opportunities to you, or are they simply problems that you just don't want to solve, or you don't plan on solving them, right? If you don't plan on solving them, completely up to you. If you're not that kind of person, it's okay. No hard feelings, nothing against you. Not gonna go take you to court and um, try to sue you for not wanting to create opportunities for yourself. At some point in each of our lives, there comes a time where we want to turn things around or mold things in a creative way, and either start from the inside out or we start from the outside in, and whatever the case may be, we come to those points in life where we either get tired of things the way they're happening or we don't, and we just keep going, and I mean, life goes on. But what we're getting at is how do you perceive pressure? Is it only something that makes diamonds for you, right? Or is it something that you can turn into an opportunity? If you plan on becoming a content creator, um, okay, now we want to think about programming and spontaneity, two different strategies to think about. We will get into that a little bit further down the road in this podcast. Right now, I want to give you the definition of what pressure is. Simple, right? You don't always think about it, but let's see how we can creatively think about it in this podcast. Um, and then we'll build a strategy around it. Pressure means continuous physical force exerted on or against an object by something in contact with it. Okay, so right now we mentioned inflation as being that pressure. Now, what we're meaning with this podcast is if you are deciding to become a content creator, now use the working knowledge right now that you have as far as inflation being a thing and turn it into your opportunity by being the content creator who makes content revolving around if you know people are in scarce or in fear, are you the type of contributor to put them in more fear, or can you be the shoulder for them to lean on, right? Can you still be the captain of the ship, and whether the ship's rocking and everybody's twisting and turning and wondering, Captain, what's the move? What are we gonna do? Everything's going to shit. Are you still able to focus and think about things in a creative way, in a way that to some might seem like it's impossible to do, but to you, maybe it just comes natural. To you, maybe it's just something that's simple, and others might be overthinking things, but you, it just comes so naturally to you that you're able to work through things, work through situations, and turn them into opportunities, like what we were mentioning earlier when it comes to the way that investors might be thinking through these kinds of things, while people in different classes of financial status are thinking one way, an investor might be thinking, well, if I make this kind of purchase for this business, it looks like it could be 5 to 10 years from now, something that is, I believe is, I mean, I don't know the complete future, but the way that I've read their recorded records, it looks like it's trending. That's the literally a way that Warren Buffett studies um, to make his investment moves. He mentions it in multiple podcasts, videos, interviews, whatever you want to talk about it, whatever you want to call them. But he says that he studies financial something of businesses and all the way back, and he'll wake up early in the morning and just do that. That's like his favorite thing to do, and he did it in the past, and I'm pretty sure can do it again multiple times. I mean, amazing person, and he's committed a lot of his fortune to some purposeful things, even after you know what I mean, after time is up. But let's not go there. But anyways, if you're thinking about being the content creator, this is not to put extra weight on you, but this is to make you aware of um, the potential that is there, right? Like we mentioned, if the ship is rocking and you're able to think, well, I could make blogs. Like, what could, if, let's put it like this, like an idea, all right? Like, here's an example. If you're thinking about being a content creator and you want to do a blog, right? Obviously, with inflation, people will want to refrain from purchasing things, but it doesn't make you incapable of making sales during a period where people don't want to purchase things. When COVID started, sales went up. That was the complete opposite of what was expected. You know what I mean? Money was flowing. Now inflation is has arrived after all of those sales and after all the money that's been printed and of course a bunch of other things. Now um, you shouldn't have to sell anything without being a salesman, is what we're saying when we talk about it doesn't always take money to uh, to make money. And I will bring up what we're meeting at the end of this podcast. I already have a list ready to give you, but we're working up to that. So, anyways, like we said, you don't need to be a salesman to sell anything, and I'm not selling you anything either. All I'm doing is sharing my ideas and my studies and my from experience in leadership, as far as being a supervisor and holding other positions and different companies. So, anyways, if you're interested in being a content creator and you want to make a blog, right? Let's say that you focus and you niche down on helping people build their credit. If people are not going to sell or buy anything, excuse me, if people are not going to buy anything, that means that you are able to provide them with the information to connect them to the things that can help them make progress during inflation, during pressure, right? You can get them on the same mindset as you and keep them in the same mindset as you without having to sell them anything. That way, what are you doing during that period of time without having to sell them anything? What is it called? Oh yeah, building trust, building community, building relationships or friendships, right? You're not just being a business, but you're also being a person, a provider before anyone even asks you to do it, right? You're giving them the information while you go do all the hard research, you go do all the deep research, and then you link them to that information. And now, once whenever inflation is out and money is not so scarce, right? And the financial crisis isn't so pressuring to some people that they don't want to really spend so much money or they don't want to make that random purchase out of nowhere because they gotta save, you know what I mean, to make sure that their family's taken care of, like priorities, right? We all get it. Priorities come first, no matter what. And I am a big believer in that. But there's side money, and sometimes people like to make little purchases here and there. But again, it doesn't need to be now. It doesn't need to be later. It doesn't need to be tomorrow, and it can be right. But the point that we're making is that it doesn't take money to make it. It doesn't all the time. No, it does not. Get out of that mindset. There's plenty of people that have proved it, and for instance, YouTube creators. when we talk about when YouTube first started, people just made a decision to switch over and just make content. And then YouTube started providing them with monetization. It was like, well, what the hell is that? And boom, the knowledge started sprouting into an amazing tree of growth or whatever. So, anyways, and now we're here, right? So, we'll get to what it is that we're talking about at the end of this podcast. I'm going to have a list for you of things that you can go and check out. They're reliable sources, I believe. And if they're not, you can come back and shun me. And I'll make sure I do a little bit more deeper research. But so far, you should be all right. Now, what we're let's think of this as an example now. I can't let you leave this podcast without giving you a strategy, right? Or a multiple strategies. If you're thinking about being the content creator, and if you're gonna, you know what I mean. Let's stick with that example about you helping people um, with building their credit. So let's say that you spent your time during the time of inflation doing that, and you help people build their credit for real. And you didn't know a thing or two about building credit, but you did all the studying and research, and then you found out, and then you learned and applied some of the things as you were teaching people, right? And as you were researching and studying, and so people started to trust you, and then maybe your channel grew, right? And now, once inflation is gone, maybe you didn't see all the growth that you expected, and you were just kind of throwing content out there, like in the Mexican heritage we say "a like whatever. And so now you're wanting to get more serious with your content, with your channel, with your brand, or I don't like to say brand, but with your identity as far as your channel, right? So that means that you kind of want to start strategizing your actual content before you put the content out. So that way it's not so wild, and um, you're actually working on things every video, like a new thing every video, and you're making improvements instead of pushing your channel back to the back and not making any progress. So what we're saying is, if you spent that time and then now you want to put content together in a more structured way, you need a strategy, right? So the way we want to think about strategy is, remember back in the days when we had Y2K, or like a lot of the talk was about doomsday preppers, and they were going out and getting all these things to prepare for the end of the world. Well, if you can take the same energy that those kind of people had at that time when they were going to find all these things to prepare themselves for the end of the world, what if you use that same energy and applied that in creating your content? Like, what if you created that kind of pressure on yourself to stay consistent in making content, right? So, what we're going to say is two strategies you could use um, for making content and for strategizing what you do when you're taking your notes, doing your research, and putting together either what is it called? Putting together your script or whatever it is. One thing that I've learned is that programming can be used in a positive way. Programming meaning uh, if people don't know when you're going to when you're going to post on your channel, um, then you want to start thinking about the strategy of programming, thinking like a programmer. Programmer is someone that puts um, a series of events together. I think I have notes over here. A series of events together in order to automate a system. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that you started a blog, and now in order for in order for you to capture somebody's email, you and for you to have omnipresence on the internet, you need to optimize or automate that email subscription system, right? So that means once they go on your blog and then they put their email and subscribe to my blog, so they can get monthly reports or monthly blogs from you, or weekly, whatever it is. So now um, we're thinking about programming as, I'm gonna automate this system and keep doing it so that way these people know that I'm doing something for a purpose. So when you're creating content, right, when it's time to actually post your videos, um, you make a specific schedule saying on Monday I'm gonna schedule this video, but Tuesday and Wednesday I'll spend the time making it, and then I'll schedule it that following Monday. And then if you want to go a step further, on Monday and Friday I want to upload a video. So that way, Monday is the start of the week for somebody, and Friday is the start of the weekend for everybody, right? And you got a little programmed methodology to upload your videos, to upload your videos when somebody is thinking about um, programming and making content. So, anyways, now let's back up real quick. If you're thinking about being a content creator, right? Now we're thinking about strategy, meaning programming in a positive way for my audience to recognize that I am committing myself to a schedule so that way they have something to look forward to the following week when Monday comes around, when Friday comes around, right? When Netflix comes on with a new show, and then they're like, all right, in like 5 months from now we're gonna put up the second season. You're already pumped up, like, all right, they ended this season excellent, I'm gonna wait, like, I'm excited. And then they put up 2 months from now a little photo on Instagram saying like coming soon, it's arriving on March 27th or January 31st, and you everybody's talking about it and making videos and shorts and like, oh, I'm so excited, like, you know what I mean? This is what we call positive programming. It's passing a message around with your actions, letting your actions speak louder than your words. And when you show up and continue showing up, and being a reliable resource, people can depend on you when inflation or things like societal issues are happening, right? Because you are giving um, real value or producing high value information in a category or a niche that is actually meaningful or impactful, right? Or something that can help somebody in their personal life, which gives you a bit of a a bigger, huge circle of influence. And so when your circle grows, right, that means it gives you a little bit more space and opportunity to venture into other things within either the same niche or within another niche, right? So, one strategy is to think about programming in a way that is going to let your audience know, your growing audience know that when you say you're going to arrive, you will arrive, right? And when you don't, you make up for it with gifts, opportunities. I'm just kidding. You don't want to think that way, but you know what I mean? Staying consistent and thinking about programming in a way, and then going from there, making it your own thing. Now, let's talk about if you're the content creator and you don't want to use the programming method, right? I don't like using that word when it comes to like people and stuff, but I know that I'm using it in a good purpose. I understand that I am, and it comes with good intention. But what I will say is the element of surprise, or in other words, what spontaneity. Um, the person that I've learned spontaneity, the most I've learned about spontaneity from is the music. One of my favorite music artists, the my favorite music artist in general, is NF. Um, the reason I say this is because with this music, this person is incredible already, and the way that he thinks is incredible already, and the way that he is amazing. I mean, I'm not trying to water over somebody, but simply giving props and appreciating the way that somebody moves and the way that they carry themselves and the way that they are is touching to me, dude. And so, NF, if you've never listened to his music, check him out. If you have, you know what I mean. But he uses the element of surprise so much. He even talks about it in his mixtape. What he says throughout the whole body of the mixtape is pretty much like, I can hear everybody talking about me, trying to get me to make a move, trying to get me to pull the trigger and just release some of my music and give him a little sneak peek. but he's making a statement like with the mixtape, like, I'm not gonna move just because you say so. I'm not gonna do it because this is my house. These are my rules. It's my music, my label. You know what I mean? It's the way I move, not you, right? And then out of nowhere, boom, he comes with the spontaneity and drops the new music, the mixtape. And what does he do? He flies through like he came from the clouds, swoops through and checks out everybody like, well, what are you guys doing down here? Like, what have you been up to? It doesn't look like you've been doing much. Like the way that he comes off is it's striking to me. Like it intrigues me to go on and write music and to get deeper into my thoughts and ideas. So it's inspiring. And if you think about the power of spontaneity or the element of surprise, it was used a lot in the medieval times or back in history, if you want to put it like that. And it can still be used to a powerful extent in our time too. Now, what we mean, if you're thinking about it from the terms of making YouTube videos, then this means that nobody knows when you're going to post your content. Nobody can tell, right? They could take wild guesses, but um, when it comes down to it, you always end up winning. Like, you didn't know I was going to post at that time. You didn't know I was going to post it this time. You didn't know I was going to post this time, but you know what I mean? So using that strategy can be very methodical because on a Monday you could post two videos and then Tuesday nothing. But if Monday's both the videos or one of the videos were such an incredible topic, concepts, ideas, information, all the above, if that one video or two videos were incredible, or not so hot. I mean, sometimes the videos that are not so hot are the ones that end up being like, whoo, right? If it's that case, then the next time someone sees your video again, they're like, oh yeah, I remember the last time I watched the video. Dang, that thing was popping. It had me moving. It had me going. I was so interested in it. Like I'm looking forward to, right? The same, um, the same idea of looking forward to your channel or what you're doing is possible in the same context, but in a different way. When we talk about programming and we talk about the power or the element of surprise, right? And spontaneity. Think about those two strategies and which works best for you. I've tried both and I love them both, to be honest. But I've figured out that I work better when I stick to a schedule and I'm structured and I'm organized. So what works for me might be different for you. Just like if we were to go to the gym together, you're not going to work out the same way that I do. You're just not. And if you're somebody bigger than me, probably won't. I probably won't work out the same way that you do. Right? I'm more of a high intensity guy, and I need to keep moving. I got things that I work with. I need to work in with. What is it? I got things I need to work on in my head, so I don't have time to stand around. I need to move. No, but so yeah, the power and the element of surprise and programming. So now that we've laid that all together, it all comes down to you making the choice. Are you going to choose to be a leader and not necessarily saying that, oh, I'm macho man. I'm going to step up and do the craziest things that nobody ever is. Or we're talking about like, um, can you just start a channel, right? Can you start a channel and do it methodically with an idea that I know I believe that I'm being called to, not saying like God is calling you. I'm saying like I believe that this is part of my purpose, right? And there's something about this that's telling me to step up. Like I should be in this position to do something. And there's something that I can talk about, that I can share, that I can specialize in, whether it be blogging and talking about tech or software, or whether it be starting a podcast and discussing my opinions on the political ideas or whatever you want to call them, goes on, in politics, or whether I want to start a channel and do the best I can with all the DIY ideas that I have, because either I come up with new ones or I get one new ones from somebody and then I make it my own, or whether I want to start a channel and just do pure challenges, right? In every category, there's somebody that is special and unique to what they do. And it's not so much that um you're making people forget what really is going on in reality, but you're also keeping them on YouTube, which is what YouTube expects, right? But you're helping them through times, right? When you can understand the times that you're living in, you can either leverage that as an opportunity or get sucked under and perhaps never, I mean, take forever to get back up. You know what I mean? So by not getting sucked under, you might take the ownership of stepping up to be the leader and just what is it called, planting your feet into positioning yourself for something that could be incredible for your life. Now it's not always just about making a dollar or making the content the best way that you can or trying to be so perfect that you actually never really put anything out. You can't be afraid to mess up is number one, and you can't be afraid to not be perfect, right? Recently, I talked about it in a video maybe 2 weeks ago where I was watching this video, a panel where Mr. Beast and a gentleman from YouTube were talking about the YouTube algorithm and YouTube in general. And Mr. Beast said something incredible that I am still keeping with me. And he said, if he made a choice, he said, I'm gonna create 100 videos and just improve on one thing every video. Now think about that in your perspective, and and if you put and if you use either the programming strategy or the spontaneity strategy, what could you do with that, right? Now, I can't give you all the information as far as what you need to research, but I can point you in some directions with some links and some information that can help you decide, right? What it is that you could do. Before we get to that, I want to give you some questions to think about. Is when it comes to productivity meaning not being a robot, but um, when you're creating a video and you need to be productive creating videos on a consistent basis, how you think about your organized strategy to do so, right? How you build your day to get to that point. Let's say that you know you're creative in the morning, or you know you're creative in the afternoon, or you know you're creative in the later afternoon, whichever it may be. If you're creative in the later afternoon, all right. So that means you could go to work if you have to go to work, right? If you need to, absolutely have to, and you're not at the point where you can just quit your job and go doing creative things all day. And you don't, this doesn't, might not, might, this can still apply to you, to be honest. But let's say, for instance, that you have a job, right? You need to work a 9 to 5. So you get up at 7, get out of work at 3 or 2:30, whatever the case may be. And then now you have an hour to get home, eat, shower, get your clothes on, get ready, and then you still have another hour to start prepping yourself. Start. It don't need to be meditation. It don't need to be a run or exercise. Maybe it just needs to be you just sitting down peacefully, thinking about what's about to happen. Right? Whether you're gonna get creative or whether you're not. And when you can structure your day around that one thing, meaning productivity, being productive up to the point where the productivity is happening when you're creating the content. Now, optimization is when you're it can be, excuse me, this is just these are just ways that you can think about uh, creating content. Is when we think about optimization, we need to think about software that can take things off of our hands so that way we can automate it and we don't need to necessarily do it ourselves. Earlier, we were mentioning something about emails and stuff. So let's say the blogging thing that you're collecting emails for called a subscription list. Now, this is what we're meaning when we talk about optimization for those of you that don't know. And if you do already know, maybe you can learn a thing or two. Optimizing your editing, all the phases, right? When you created the video already, you've been productive by making the main content that you need to. Now you're thinking about optimization. Now it's editing, production, all of all those other things, right? All those other things next. To optimize each of those stages, we need to think about, well, if I don't want to make the thumbnail for my video for YouTube right off the bat, then I could probably go and learn how to make a photo with the AI generator, image generator, right? This is simple stuff like that. You can automate something, just put in some numbers real quick, put in some words, blah, 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 and then boom, you got AI generating a thumbnail for you. You don't even need to create anything. You don't need to pay $1 for nobody to make the graphic for you or the thumbnail for you. You don't need to subscribe to anything. That is actually open source when it comes to that. Like, there's countless ways to do each of these things. But what we're meaning by the optimization is having AI, artificial intelligence, or or software automation take over the certain things that you don't need to be doing physically, right? Now it extends your mental consciousness to something else so that way it can take care of that part of the creative system for you. And you can just focus on being yourself, living your life, and thinking about your next piece of product or a video or a podcast or a blog or whatever. Now, now that we've got all that taken care of, we've expressed what optimization could be for somebody, what it is to me, what it means to me, what productivity could mean to somebody, and what it means to me. Um, we've mentioned two strategies that you could use when it comes to posting your content and creating a schedule, right? And we've mentioned how you can turn an oppor- how you can turn pressure, or in other words, inflation, into an opportunity. And we've even painted the picture of what kind of person you might be if you're thinking about starting a channel, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're thinking about starting a podcast or starting a blogging site or starting something in general, whatever it might be. If you are that kind of person, we've talked about all these things. Now we get to the part where we were saying it does not take money to make it. Okay. And this is how affiliate marketing. You literally need to be productive in your content creation. And whether you're niched down, let's say that your channel is mainly focused on self development. Now, there's a lot of creative avenues that I would think about as far as what affiliates I would associate myself with. An affiliate means that you can point somebody in a direction through a link, right? You can link them to a company. They can go check out what is there. And if they like what's there and if they can really use it, this is why we mentioned specifically that the person doesn't need to spend money. But we mentioned earlier, if you were to start a channel and a blog talking about how to help somebody build their credit, you could literally have an affiliate link that links somebody to a credit card company, right? Or a credit building company. Now they're not spending $1. They're either You could either get paid for that interaction if they sign up for a specific thing that is in that contract that the affiliate company might have given you and that you agreed upon, right? So that way you can get either in between 0 to 30% commission or 0 to 80. I've seen as high as 0 to 80. I think I just recently got accepted with what is the freaking company called? Canva. I got accepted with Canva recently. So here's how we're talking about. You create content revolving around credit building, right? You build a relationship with your audience. You let them know when you'll be posting. You be that leader during a time when they're scarce about spending money. You don't ask for a penny. You simply provide, 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 provide. Expect nothing in return. You be yourself, show up, right? And be strategic with the way that you create your content and be impactful. Be yourself too, but don't be boring. Nobody likes boring people. I mean, I don't get entertained with boring people. I don't know if you would, but anyways, and then you simply just say, hey, well, here's my affiliates in the description of your YouTube video. Here's my affiliates. If you're interested, check them out. This is a company that could help you with building your credit. If you have any questions, hit me up. Or go a step further and say, if you have any questions, sign up for my subscription list. Go to my website, subscribe, and I will give you more in-depth information. Join my community. Be a part of my life. Let's connect a step further. You know what I mean? Building up to those things that is called the development stages. You're setting up for a future phase. Now, now that we've kind of discussed how you can make money without even giving money, one thing I've learned is if you have to pay for something up front, it's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's personal advice, and that's from learning from my experiences. If you got to pay for it to enter, uh-uh, it's a no go. But if it's simply you are working with a company that is offering the affiliate program and it revolves around the niche that you're in, like credit building or like blogging, right? There's obviously bigger companies that hold a bigger name. Oh, my mic fell. Hold on. Obviously, there's bigger companies that have a house name, right? And they're in a different place than you are as far as starting a blog, but they have the opportunity to pay you out for affiliating with them, for building a partnership with them. Now, it might seem like you're way far out there in outer space when it comes to starting as an affiliate, but don't think about it like that right off the bat. Um, just like they say, if you're thinking about somebody that's being a celebrity and a star, you're thinking about the end game already. Like, be where you are, but still hold the confidence that they have where they're at. You know what I mean? That you can get there too. It's just a matter of you. Um, I hate saying this, but putting in the hard work, I guess you would say, and staying committed to not the dream, but the vision that you have for yourself. Because if it's to me, it's okay to have dreams. It's all right. It's cool. But to me, living in a dream, it seems like I just stay asleep and I kind of lose track of what I'm doing. But when it comes to my vision, I'm awake and I'm prepared um and I'm like what is it? Like 10 times more focused with the decisions that I'm making. I'm not so clouded as far as I live if I'm living my life chasing my dreams. To me, there's a difference, and you don't need to think about it in the same way. This is just something that I'm still learning about within myself, and right now, those two things they're kind of the same, but they're different. So I just wanted to share that. But anyways, um, I think we've got pretty much everything so far. One thing that can help you with as far as productivity too, on your internet browser. Let's say that you open up your internet browser, whether it be Microsoft or Chrome. There is a favorites bar that runs all the way across it. If you go to a website and then you close out the tab, but you forget to add it to your favorites, and you just can't remember, right? Sometimes we set our settings to not remember browsing history and all that stuff. So this is why I'm saying it can help you with your organization on the web. If you're a avid desktop user, organizing your favorites, files, and bar to the extent to where you have one file that is like I have one that's called coding playgrounds because I like to learn about coding on my own private time whenever that is, and I have a file where I can open it and it brings out a list of websites I can go and check out, either educational websites I can learn from, or coding playgrounds I could go and practice typing, or websites I can go and just study like a specific thing, like whether it's only specifying on JavaScript, or something only specifying on C++. You know what? I kind of get what I'm saying. So by organizing your internet toolbar or favorites bar, it can be a very helpful productivity tip for you if you haven't already done that. Think about that. Also, another place to do it is in your phone. My wife absolutely hates the way that I have my phone organized because she says that she can never find anything. But I label it all and I put them in files, and I actually block, or not block. I put them in. I put like all the Google files together, right? And then I label it the Google files, right? And then I go in another place where it's like the Samsung Galaxy apps, like just for example, and then put all those apps together, and they're in squares all the way down there. You can literally uh, create the pattern that you want through your phone settings. But those are just some ideas on keeping yourself organized. When you have yourself organized, you're setting yourself up for success. So let's say that here's another tip: is when you, if you haven't done this already, when you open up your browser, you can go to your settings, and you can also you can go, what is it, to the tabs. If there's websites that you automatically search through, like say you go to Google right off the bat. Let's say that you always go to YouTube right off the bat, and you always go to what is it, what is Microsoft Azure or whatever, Azure, or whatever, however you want to call it, or you always go to GitHub, or you always go to in some place on the Web3, then what you can do in your settings is set those tabs to open up every time you open your browser. Every time. So if you close it, and the only thing is, you can set it up to open up those tabs specifically, or open up the previous tabs that you had open, and so that way you don't lose your spot, or whatever you were working on as far as a project, or video you might be watching, and it could save the spot, or you can remember the time that you were at, blah blah blah. So things to think about when it comes to being productive. If you have these little things set up for you, um, and you stay consistent with adding and subtracting things to those files, then you'll stay productive. Trust me, I promise you. And I'm not big on making promises. You can stay productive because I do it consistently with my web browser, with my phone, with all of even with, I just changed some more tabs for when I open up my internet as well. You could do the same thing with apps that start up when your computer starts. That is a whole video for a whole different day. But I will not regret this when I say that. I promise you, it can help you with staying productive, because minimizing the time you spend on doing those things every single day, as opposed to on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Usually, a weekly basis is a lot healthier and helpful to me. So, just a recommendation. When you keep updating those files, you can stay on top of what you're doing, and it's like building a second brain, as you could, if you want to say it like that. And you just kind of have a real consistent idea of where you put certain things and how fast you can get there, get to that place, finish what you got to do, and then get out. You know what I mean? And then you go on to do whatever it is you do in life. So that's my tips on productivity and helping you optimize that part. Now, here is a location that I would love to put you on. This is a place that I have found where there is a lot less restrictions on building in their platform, and there is an active community, and there's moderators that actually speak to you. Now, I had a little weird interaction with one of the moderators because I asked a question kind of edgy when I didn't mean to, but I should have worded myself different, I guess. Uh, um, it was just a weird interaction, but got through it and worked out my problem. And I kind of was like, all right, well, I'm gonna kind of brush back from this and then focus on this other place. So, but I want to mention this place because I don't believe that they get enough light shine on their website. So, one place I say, if you are interested in developing an application on your own by yourself, if you want to start a SaaS company, yes, it takes a lot of freaking hard work. It takes a lot of work, but it is worth it. I'm on my way. I'm not close, but I'm close to getting halfway done with mine. Um, I want to recommend this place. It's called DraftBit. If you have never ever heard of it, go and research them. I will put the link in the bottom of this description, along with about three different links of some trustworthy blogs that have a lists of affiliate companies that offer an affiliate program. You too, if you are a welder, um, I was thinking about this earlier. It's funny how it came back to me. But if you're a welder, you could literally possibly find, and I say possibly because I haven't searched for that yet, but as an idea, check for companies like that sell welding equipment. You could literally, if it's something important, try to find a company that is either offering sponsorships or offering affiliate programs. And you could contribute that to what you do in your business, what you do with your channel, if you're not already doing that, or if you're not already thinking about those kinds of things. But I will link those links in the description of this podcast. And I think I have got through all of the things that I wanted to talk about. I'm pretty excited to upload this, and I had an amazing time. This is actually a good podcast for my first time doing it live. Like this was weird, and I did this live because I have never seen anybody else do it, and I recommend that you do it as well. This might be the new thing. You can't be afraid to try new things, right? You can't be afraid to put your first strong foot forward. If you're good at something and you have confidence in yourself and you're just um, open to making mistakes and correcting them as you go, do it. Don't let anybody stop you. Because if you let somebody stop you, doesn't God say in the Bible too that there's no man on earth, there's nothing that can close or open doors for you besides Him? Oh, I'm just saying. But if you are a firm believer that it is possible for you inside of yourself to open doors, then my God Almighty, you are unstoppable. My name is Rick J. Rayner Jr. This is the Ghost in the Shell podcast. I appreciate you stopping by. And if you really like this podcast, if you like this episode in general, if there's anything that you got to take away from this that you knew before, but you got a better understanding now, or if this made you think different in any way about things that are going on in the world right now, comment down below. Let me know what it is. Let's talk. Let's communicate with each other. This is a conversation that I had with my wife, and I told her if she keeps arguing with me, I'm gonna have to delete her off my friends list. I'm just kidding. No, but we did have a conversation about that, and communicating is the best way to get to know each other. So I'd like to get to know you. Peace out.